Do you ever feel helpless? Like the whole world is crumbling around you and you simply can't do anything about it. Your fingers feel numb and you can't get yourself to get up because your knees feel so weak. Tears bubble at the corners of your eyes, then flow freely down your face because what better thing is there for you to do than cry? Nothing works. Nothing seems possible. You feel useless. Anime protagonists: Goku, Ichigo, Naruto, Luffy, Gon, Edward, Natsu, Usagi. Legends that are still being talked about that are living, breathing relics from the past. But now, we have new protagonists taking over the animation world. Eren, Tanjiro, Boruto, Shoyo, Gon again, Edward again, Asta, Izuku, and many more. Many new shonen main characters are being loved and respected daily. And while there has been debate over whether these protagonists are well written or not, we can all agree that at least they are staples of the franchise they are a part of. One story in particular that has been booming all over the world recently is Jujutsu Kaisen. One, because Gojo exists, and two, because fans fell in love with the storyline, art style, animation, action scenes, and characters. And since we're on the topic of protagonists, the discourse around the Jujutsu Kaisen protagonist Yuuji Itadori has been rather, well, mixed. Some say he's a great main character, while others say he's basic, standard, and just like everybody else. I'm on the side that loves Yuuji Itadori and thinks he's well written. But how, you may ask? Spoilers for the entire show, by the way. When Season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen was released in June 2023, it took over the internet. People were praising the plot, animation, world building, voice acting, and couldn't stop fangirling about how cool Toji, Gojo, and Chozo were. And while I too appreciated the Season 4's tight storytelling and deeper themes, I found it more interesting when the season was released. It started out around the middle of the year, more lighthearted, with some dark moments here and there. But as the show got darker, so did the year. Winter dawned on us, tragedies happened around the world, both global and personal. And 2023 overall didn't end with as much of a positive celebration as I would have liked. So the feeling of watching the season piecemeal, episode by episode over several months felt more personal because of the respective times they were released, relating to how I might have felt as well as many others in that moment. Dark, scared, and alone. This sort of theme was presented well in our protagonist Yuuji Itadori, who, so far, even though has gone through some character development, still is a happy-go-lucky type of guy. His purpose in life is to help people, as said by his late grandfather, but dealing with Sukuna is a challenge, because Sukuna is the exact opposite of what he wants to do. It's destruction versus peace, an amazing duality that puts a spin on Yuji's character that not a lot of protagonists have. You could argue that Naruto has the same duality to him with Kurama, but what sets these characters apart is that Naruto eventually needs Kurama to befriend him, whilst Sukuna is a complete enemy to Yuji. Not saying that the Kurama plotline was bad, it was great, but Yuji has this plotline going for him that makes him stand out among other shonen main characters. This duality of peace versus destruction, good versus evil, that Yuji has plays in his character well as he's forced to deal with his emotions in the different situations he gets into. This provides for a dark tone to his character that makes him meaningful to watch. In the Shibuya incident arc, Yuji's character expands when he's forced to deal with the deaths of his comrades all around him. He loses Gojo, and Megumi is critically injured. Nobara and Nanami die right before his eyes, and when he loses to Chozo and Sukuna takes over, we see Yuuji Itadori's true colors. After Sukuna fights Jugo, he wreaks havoc across the city, destroying the entire Shibuya. Sukuna decides to bask in his joy as he leaves Yuji to deal with the mass destruction he committed with his own mind and body. Yuji, with wide, terrified eyes, sees the blank, desolate city. Buildings charred black and broken, rubble piled up on the ground, crushing hundreds of innocent civilians beneath him. Everybody gone, because he was too weak to overpower what he thought he had in control by now, because it was all his fault. There's this utter, eerie feeling of dread and guilt that echoes through the scene as Yuji crumbles to the ground, angry, horrified, and aggrieved at the sight of the completely wasted Shibuya before him. When he yells in rage at himself, saying he is the only one who should die after all this, because nobody else can receive this justice, and nobody else can kill Sukuna except by him dying, and that if he continues going on like this, he is nothing but a murderer. The voice actors performed their moments masterfully here, both in the sub and the dub.
Die! Only me! Only me! Die! Right now!
When talking about Yuuji Itadori's arc, it's important to note that he is still a child, caught in this world of monsters and darkness and responsibility that he's overwhelmed with sometimes. And I'm sure you felt like that too, at some point in your life, maybe even right now. And that hits home, right? Because sometimes we mess up. We mess up really bad. Sometimes we make a mistake that hurts others and live to regret it. We can't take it back, and sometimes it's too late to apologize. And that carnal desire that pushed us to do it laughs at us in the corner of our minds, mocking us for not being strong enough, for giving into the worst side of ourselves and leaving us to deal with the consequences, the duality of man. And Yuuji presents that here. He feels horrible that he was the one who did all this damage, even though it was really Sukuna, because who else is going to be held to justice for this act other than him? So, what does he do? What can he do when he is nothing but a murderer? That question is answered here, later on, when Mahito kills Nobara right in front of him, and Todo comes to save him, he, again, feeling completely useless that he couldn't save anybody else. Not Nanami, not Nobara, not Gojo, not any of his friends, not even the entire city of Shibuya. He confides to Todo how horrible he feels about what just happened. And in this scene, you really are reminded how young Yuuji is. He's only the mere age of 15, and he looks like it in his cries of desperation. But then Todo, his trusted friend and brother figure, reminds him.
Brother, お前ほどの男が小さくまとまるなよ。俺たちが生きている限り、死んでいった仲間たちが真に敗北することはない。罪と罰の話ではないんだ。今すぐ答えを出す必要はない。だが答えが出るまで決して足を止めるな。
Yuuji should not let his past failures drag down who he wants to become now. He shouldn't stop helping people, nor give in to the darker side of himself, instead focusing on the light, the future, the goal of redeeming himself, making sure that he keeps that human duality in check. Yuuji Itadori's arc is about helping people, but it's also about pushing forward even when times are tough, when some of the things you did not help people, and having to accept that you can't save everybody. That duality of a human being that you can do right, but also so much wrong. But are you going to let those sins be an excuse to continue being horrible, or giving up, or sinking into that darker side of yourself? Or are you going to let them be a lesson to redeem yourself, to accept that life hurts, and we can't do anything to change that, but we can, like Todo said, move forward, even if we have many dangers running towards us.
ごめん、ナナミ。楽になろうとした。
I want to go back to my point of when Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 was released, specifically this later arc during the Shibuya incident. This episode aired on November 16th, 2023. When the year was coming to a close, I felt exactly like Yuuji Itadori here, helpless against the world that was tearing itself apart and unable to fix some parts of myself that I wanted to get done in that year. I've seen other people share the same feelings too. There's nothing we can do except cry and do as much as we can, even if we are so small in the matter. We feel like Yuuji in these scenes, like a child not wanting anybody to be hurt by you or anybody else, only wanting to live in a world with happiness and peace. But then I remember this quote that Yuuji says once he finally gets to his senses and gets back up.
ナナミ楽になろうとした罪すらも逃げる言い訳にした。
Let's continue moving forward. Let's not let our past sins define who we are. It is the rest of our journey, who we choose to be, that matters in the long run, for the future. Because we cannot change the past. And sometimes what tragedy happened to us isn't our fault, but it is our responsibility to heal. Because who else will fix us or be accountable for our own actions? Nobody else but our own selves. Many main shonen characters teach us the similar topic of never giving up. Yet they still differ. Naruto teaches us to prove you can do the things people didn't expect you to do. Tanjiro teaches us to keep being kind and patient in the heat of difficulty. Izuku teaches us that hard work does pay off with the right intentions. And Yuuji Itadori teaches us to press onward despite our past sins, in hopes of redeeming ourselves and helping others in the future. Man has duality. Peace versus destruction, right versus wrong, good versus evil. But it is up to us to stay on the right path, the one that can help others and ourselves. That is the duality of man that Yuuji Itadori teaches us, and why he is a great main character. Short season review. The animation was great. Mappa did a great job despite its poor treatment of their employees. The characters are awesome. I hate all the villains except for Chozo. He was kinda cool. I liked how he just remembers Yuuji as his brother out of nowhere and tries to convince him of it. That was funny.
俺はお兄ちゃんだ。
真面目にやってくんねえかな。
とりあえず一回呼んでみてくれないか。お兄ちゃんと。
Takuma needs more appreciation. I did not expect Nobara to die, which is sad because she's my favorite character. People online spoiled Nanami's death so much that it didn't really make me sad when I watched it, but it did make me sad because of how it affected Yuuji. I didn't understand the whole Kenjaku thing for too long. I was so confused as to what happened because of the first season. When Yuta came back, I visibly smiled. His entrance was very cool. Overall, good season, but kind of overhyped. 7.2 out of 10. Please don't hate me. Thank you for watching this video. I know it's a bit random, but I really felt like this was a story I wanted to share because of its significance to me and people who relate to Yuuji Itadori. Also, Jujutsu Kaisen is kind of a big thing right now, so I just wanted an excuse to talk about it. And seeing people talk about Itadori online makes me want to talk about him because I just think he's interesting. Have a great day, and remember to drink your water, because drinking your water is important, and you should totally do that. No, she knows, no, you know,